country, but a great deal of the country is diametrically opposed to it.
Right.
Feel that it has not been, properly researched. Feels that they don't know what the ramifications will be, but they also don't know what the ramifications of getting COVID would be either. But that's the way we stand right now. I'm sure that there are some big name players that you'd be shocked at after we have refused to take this vaccine.
But I would think that just like any other company, any other vote, majority rules.
No, but not when it comes to health, Don. I don't think it can.
Well, but again, nobody is forcing them to take the vaccine. It's like you play in Major League Baseball, you're a part of a union. Your union says in order for you to be able to go to work, you have to get vaccinated, or you don't play. That's what I'm saying. I completely agree with you. I understand the freedom of this country. The freedom is that you could do what you want to a certain extent. Right? So nobody's going to force you to take the vaccine, but we have lived in a world now where not being vaccinated, like there's certain inoculations you have to go travel to Africa. All right? If you don't want to take it, you don't go. Like, can you still get on the plane and fly to a country and not have it? No, you can't. You're not allowed. So there's certain lines that are drawn where in order for you to do this, you have to go through a certain procedure. And if your union votes that in order to play baseball, you have to be vaccinated, and 90% of the players vote for it, the freedom of the country is nobody's forcing you to get vaccinated, but if you want to play under our rules, if you want to play in our sport, in our business, that's the rule.
I get what you're saying, Don, but let's say that the 15% of the players that don't want to be vaccinated, the average annual salary for these guys is $20 million. You think the union is going to say, okay, guys, you don't play and that's it? You're not going to get paid? They're going to allow the owners not to pay $20 million times 15% of the players? There's no way. You're not being pragmatic. They're not going to allow it. You don't think the union wants all the players to be vaccinated? I'm truly convinced that we as a nation now are so polarized about certain things that if the polio vaccine was engineered today, people would still have polio. They wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it. They're just dead set against it. I'm sorry, they wouldn't take it. So, if you told this entire country, if everybody got the COVID-19 vaccine, that it would eradicate this disease, they still wouldn't do it.
It depends who said that they should.
No, I don't think anybody who said that they should. Because both sides, President Trump took the shot, and some of his followers don't do it. Biden took the shot. Some of his followers won't do it. I think it's an individual thing. You might say or say it leans one way or the other. You might be right. You might be wrong. I don't think it's just one way, Peter. I just don't think it's one way.
That's fair. Oh, no, and I didn't even mean one way, though. But depending who says it would affect a certain group. Like, yes, you're right. There are, for example, people who support one person who, even though they got the shot, won't get it. But but be clear, there's still their share of people who, because of certain things that were said, were like, oh, that's the real answer, I'm not going to do it. But let's be honest, vax hesitancy affects many different groups of people.
Yeah, of course it does.
It's a wide range.
Listen, we're no different than anybody else. We're not any more special than anybody else. We all make our own decisions. All right? And again, I'm not forcing you what to do. I'm just asking the questions from a union standpoint because, Michael, there's certain places I work for, I can't work unless I'm vaccinated.
Right.
So it's not unheard of, right? That there are businesses, there's certain places I can't go. There were certain places I couldn't sit at a ballpark unless I was vaccinated. So lines of demarcation are being drawn everywhere, vaccinated, not vaccinated. That's just the way of life. But
how about the way it's changed, though, Don? The last couple of playoff games for the New York Knicks, you could not get in without vaccination proof.
Right.
Now you could get in anywhere. Nothing has to be proven. Nothing. There doesn't have to be vaccination proof. There doesn't have to be a COVID-19 negative test. Nothing. People are just piling into places. That's the way it is.
Right. But in defense to the Knicks and a lot of other places, that was also pre the Delta variant, and things are changing. It's ever changing. But I was faced with the same choice everybody else was faced with. And I said to myself, listen, I understand this vaccine is different than any other. We don't have 20 years of knowledge on it. So there is an unknown when you take it.
Sure.
We all went through that. But I think there's also an unknown about this virus, and I just weighed the pros and cons, and my individual feeling was I think the pros outweighed the cons, and I took the vaccine. Now, who knows? Maybe 10 years from now I'll regret it. But every bit of information that I seem to be getting about getting this virus, I don't want it. And if the virus, and if the vaccine's going to help me not get it or help me keep me out of the hospital or keep me from being 6 feet under, I was willing to take that chance. I guess some people are not.
Let's go to Steve in Bound Brook. Steve.
Michael, hey, it's a pleasure. Hey, guys.
What's up?
Listen, Michael, you sort of stole my thunder. What I want to say to Don is, Don, if I'm working for a media company here in New Jersey selling advertising, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the Aaron Judge of the company bringing in tons of revenue and I don't want to take the vaccine, the company is going to turn a blind eye. They're not going to tell me to take a vaccine whether they can or can't. That's what Michael was saying. That's the difference.
Right. But we don't know that, Steve. We don't know what percentage, who are the guys that aren't taking it. So, but on the other end, what if there are a bunch of multi-million-dollar players who are saying, I want these guys to be vaccinated? I'm just saying, at some point, something can win out.
I can't tell you that, Don. Don, you can't tell me to take a vaccine. Look, Don, I'm 2 months younger than you. I was born in April of 68, okay? I don't take Advil when I get a headache. I'm in good physical condition. I'm not obese, great shape. I've never taken medications when I don't have to. And whether I got the vaccine or not, I necessarily did not want that vaccine because I never put anything in my body. The one thing that I was worried about, if I didn't get the vaccine and if I got the virus, would I be spreading it to other people? I kind of was wary on my mind. Mm-hmm. But I did not want that vaccine, and I resisted it. I got it about a month ago, simply because thinking about travel, going to games, I was thinking that maybe if you wanted to get on an airplane flight internationally, you may have to show a vaccination card. So I got the vaccination. But Michael's right. If a quarter of the players are not vaccinated, you can't infringe on their rights.
But there are companies, Steve, that tell you can't come into work unless you're vaccinated.
If I'm generating the money that Aaron Judge's, or
right.
if some other superstar player is, and they don't want to get vaccinated, baseball's going to turn a blind eye. Just like my company
right.
would. If I was the number one.
Doesn't it work? Let me ask you something quick. Well, really, what if doesn't it work the other way? Like, what if some of the biggest names in the sport put pressure and say, I want there to be mandatory vaccinations because I don't want to have these postponements. I don't want to have to be leery of somebody that isn't vaccinated. That could work too. So would they cave under that pressure?
I don't think, as long as what Steve is saying, and we thank you for the phone call, Steve, is like there are companies that won't allow you to come into work, okay, if you're not vaccinated. But if there was somebody that was really, really important to the company, that was a real revenue driver, and he said, I'm not getting this vaccine, I don't think they would fire him.
No.
And I don't think that they would pass that unilaterally. And as a union, you have to represent everybody, from the best people to the worst people, everybody. And if a grand percent, not a grand, if 10% of your constituency don't want to get shots, then you got to defend them. You got to force them to do it.
But please don't tell me that's how this union operates.
What does that mean?
That they treat everybody equally and defend everybody the same. That's not the case.
I am sure that of a lot of the people, right, that are choosing not to get vaccinated, many of them are megastars.
All right. And I get that, and you're right. At the end of the day, that's going to move the needle. But what I was asking, can't the reverse happen? What if it ended up being 10% and they're all role players and the 90% were most of them superstars? Wouldn't they also carry the same weight?
Maybe, but I don't think that's the case. So that's why we are in this situation. And also, for those that don't want to get vaccinated, right? I mean, they can really return serve and go, okay, everybody that's been vaccinated is getting sick. So why should I, if I get sick, why should I on top of that also get a vaccine? Now, everybody's listening. I'm not defending that. I did get the vaccine. First opportunity, I was trying to get it even before the first opportunity. So that's how I felt. But the bottom line is, they're probably saying, even if you got the vaccine, you got sick. But what I would tell them, those people are probably not being hospitalized now because they have the vaccine. And then they might say, not athletes. The vast majority of athletes that get COVID, even if they're not vaccinated, are not getting deathly ill. That's what they'll say. And they say, although the Dr. Oswald that we had on, he said these vaccines have been in development for 15 years. All they had to do was plug in the coordinates for this specific COVID. But it's not like it was thrown together in 9 months. It just wasn't.
But if that kind of power, then why not just say, then let's play through? Though they still postpone the game, so they still acknowledge, the situation. And I think a lot of that is because of the fact that if somebody does end up in the hospital and does, God forbid, die, it's overwhelmingly statistically proven that that person likely was not vaccinated. So that's why you're postponing, because you don't want to have that happen. But if it's just, hey, we're not going to get sick, we're all going to be okay, we'll get it, but we're professional athletes, then why aren't they playing today?
Because it's not their decision. I'm sure if it was their decision and they're not actually ill, they would play. Major League Baseball saying we're not playing.
Oh, God, this is such I can't believe we're here talking about this again. And maybe it turns out to just be a little scare that we go through for a few days and people buckle down and we get, it's nothing. But you certainly look around. My day started with hearing that Wiz Khalifa had COVID. Then we got on the air and you said Rich Eisen said he had COVID and had symptoms and was vaccinated fully. Then we find out Bradley Beal is out of the U.S. Olympics, contact tracing, and now Yankees-Red Sox postponed. It's been a weird day.
All right, let's take a brief time out. This is certainly not the way we envision having fun and doing the show that we normally do, but it is the story of the day, and I'm sure it's going to be covered even in the news. Not just the sports part of the newspaper as well. 1-800-919-3776. It's Kayla Greca, Rosenberg, and you right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.